sweet when you gain on bad. That's you. Girl, I love when you gain on bad. It's true. You're too sweet when you gain on bad. You're bad. You're bad, bad, bad. I come on stage, she gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She ain't got no shame. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She turn it back. We and she gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. Oh, don't panic, bro. She gain on bad. She gain on bad, 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 bad. Bad like two sardines in the top. Bad like a steel KFC snap box. Bad like somebody hard as picnic. Bad like my child mother when she miss me. Walking up bad when it felt in the first beat. I was surprised, so she give me it quickly. You're too sweet when you're whining and panic. I love the way how you rain and panic. You're bad like two game caught in the rain. Gain on bad like dogs in the pain. It's a bad make a wheelchair man start walking. Bad enough make a jam man start talking. Every time the bumpers start moving, Met West Indies looking start losing. Show me what you made of right now. I want you to break it. I come to stage, she gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She ain't got no shame. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She turn it back. Me and she gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. Oh, don't panic, bro. She gain on bad. She gain on bad, 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 bad.
Goblin old man so then. Sweet girl I know with sweet friends. Bro bumper bubble on bend. Must claim it till me descend. What? Bang your back to the 90 degrees. I shake like a tree when it hit a cold breeze. Yes, bubble, bubble, bubble. Sweet girl just bubble, bubble, bubble. Bang your back and bubble, bubble, bubble. Your bounce so just bubble, bubble, bubble. Whoa, bubble, bubble, bubble. Sweet girl just bubble, bubble, bubble. I wanna see you bubble, bubble, bubble. Cold black girl bubble, bubble, bubble. Whoa.
Show me what you made of right now. I want you to break it. I come on stage, she gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She ain't got no shame. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She turn it back. We and she gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. Oh, don't panic, bro. She gain on bad. She gain on bad, 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 bad. Bubble like balls in the lotto machine. I make the thing bounce like a trampoline. She hit the bumper like a tambourine. I make the thing roll like plasticine. Sweet girl, I like how you bend. I want you to roll it, drop it again. Turn it around and stick it, drop it and lift it. Barely want hit it. I want it to shit the thing like a spike stone vine. I bend like them rose, no sub signs. The ball like Cheyenne in the headstand. Real bad carry somebody my sweet girl. I want you to bend it. Take hold yourself, don't feel my senate. Sweet girl, show me what you made of right now. I want you to break it. I come on stage, she gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She ain't got no shame. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She turn it back. We and she gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. Oh, don't panic, bro. She gain on bad. She gain on bad, 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 bad.
Oh, she bad so.
She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She ain't got no shame.
The sound of Ill Blaze featuring Father Phyllis.
Turn it back. We and she gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain
Interesting name, right? Father Phyllis.
on bad. She gain on bad, bad.
Jack Carl, she getting on bad.
Like two sardines in the top.
Kicking off the night shift with DJ Kevin Stewart tonight. It's Real Talk Wednesday.
Hardest picnic, bad like my
Greetings and salutations to each and every one of you. How you doing?
I was surprised, so she give me it quickly.
I want to say big ups to all the affiliates all over the globe. Wherever you're listening from or watching from. Much love to those on TuneIn Radio on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. Much love to you. Big ups to those out in New Jersey. Tune in on NIE Radio with New Jersey's finest, The Motivator. Remember, you can catch Motivator on Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. And on Saturdays, Motivation Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Don't get it twisted, you know. Double Trouble Thursday. Sick.
Must claim it till me descend. What? Bang your back to the 90 degrees. I shake like a tree when it hit a cold breeze. Yes, bubble, bubble.
Do check out
bubble, bubble.
those who are locked in New York.
Bubble, bubble.
Do make sure you keep it locked.
Bubble, 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 sweet.
Where?
Bubble, bubble.
Reggae Pulse Radio.
Bubble, bubble, cool black.
Much love, Buck.
Wow. Show me what you made of right now. I want you to break it. I come on stage, she gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. She ain't got
Do check out the website reggaepulseradio.com.
she gain on bad. She turn it back. We and she gain on bad. She gain on bad. She gain on bad. Oh, don't panic, bro. She gain on bad. She gain on bad, 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 bad. Bubble like balls in the lotto machine and make the thing.
Much love to those who are locked in on the Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com.
Roll like plastic, sing, sweet girl. I like how you bend.
Much love, Mr. Lindsay, veteran in the business.
Turn it around and stick it, drop it and lift it. Barely
You
want
can tune in to Mr. Lindsay at noon every day,
she gain on bad. She ain't got no shame. She
Monday through Friday.
gain on bad. She gain on
On Sunday, you get a special treat on Reggae Global Radio.
She gain on bad. She gain on bad. Oh, don't panic, bro. She gain on bad.
man, do check him out.
Balak still KFC snap box. Balak somebody hard.
Much love to those on PEMGTV.com.
Bad when it felt in the first beat. I was surprised, so she give me it quickly.
How you doing?
Sweet when you're whining on it. I love the way how you're riding on it. Your Balak 2 game cost.
Greetings to those on Clubhouse.
Those in the pain, so bad make a wheelchair master walking. Body enough make a dumb master.
Big ups to you.
Think the bumper start moving. Met West Indies.
Much love to those who are locked in at the home of the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew, kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.
She ain't got no shame. She gain no bad. She gain no bad. She gain no bad. She turn it back. She gain no bad. She gain no bad. She gain no bad. Oh, don't panic.
Inviting to call a friend to your friend. Friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too.
Girl I know with sweet friends.
Yeah man, lock it in.
Must claim it's
Real talk on the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew.
breeze. I shake like a tree when it hit a cold breeze. Yes, bubble, 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 sweet girl, just bubble.
If you're asking questions, tonight we're talking about human behavior.
You want to just bubble, bubble, bubble.
Come
What?
on, bubble if that's what you want to do.
Sweet girl, just bubble, bubble, bubble. I want to see you bubble, bubble, bubble. Cool black girl, bubble, bubble.
Inviting you all to jump into the stew pot.
What you made
Those of you wondering what the stew pot is, it's what others call a chat room.
She gain no bad.
But because we're fancy on kevinstew.com, it's called the stew pot. It's where we keep things interactive and bubbling.
No bad. She gain no bad.
Go to kevinstew.com and you are in.
She gain no bad.
You don't need to register, you don't need to sign up, you don't need to offer your firstborn, an internal organ, or a blood sacrifice.
Like balls in the lotto machine and make the thing bounce like a trampoline. She
You can remain anonymous if you choose,
sing, roll it, blast it, sing.
or you can put your name so I know who I'm interacting with.
Roll it, drop it again. Turn it around and stick it, drop it and lift it. Barely want hit it. I want it to shit thing.
I want to say thank you to my segment sponsors before I go any further.
The ballet sure yarn in the head start.
Pulse Media Group and being in a moment is priceless. Get them a call.
Bennett, take hold yourself, don't film my senate. Sweet girl, show me what you made of.
What can I do for you? Everything you see here on kevinstew.com and so much more.
No bad, she gain no bad. She ain't got no shame. She gain no
They
bad.
handle videos, photos, streaming, advertising.
Back queen, she gain no bad. She gain no bad. She gain
If you have an event you want to broadcast live on a secure platform, whether yours or theirs,
bad.
be it a funeral, a wedding, a graduation, a party, a seminar, you name it,
Bad like somebody hard as pick me. Bad like my job, motivation miss me.
just give them a call, 754-999-1140.
She give me it quickly. You're too sweet when you're white.
That's 754-999-1140.
Like two game courts in the rain. Gain no bad like dogs in the pain. So bad make a wheelchair.
Tell them Kevin Stew sent you.
Left make a dumb man start talking. Everything they
I want to say thank you to Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands.
lose it. Show me what you
Althea is a licensed massage therapist operating out of Broad County, North Miami-Dade and South Palm Beach counties.
bad. She gain
She comes to you,
no shame.
bringing her table, her oils, and over 20 years massage therapy experience.
She gain no bad. She gain no
Give her a call, 954-655-9000.
no bad. She gain no bad.
That's 954-655-9000. Or email her at thealata@att.net.
Bro, bump.
THEALATER@att.net.
Bang your back to the 90s.
Schedule your appointment today.
When it hit a cold breeze. Yes, bubble, 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 sweet girl, just bubble,
Don't hesitate. She only asks one thing.
bubble, bubble. You want to just
We've called it the Kevin Stew clause.
bubble, 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 sweet
Is
girl.
that you get off her table and go sleep somewhere else when she's done.
Bubble, cool black girl, bubble, bubble, bubble. What?
And that's just because I always fall asleep on her table. That's why you get that name, you know?
She gain no bad.
The Kevin Stew clause.
No bad. She ain't got no shame. She gain no bad. She gain no bad. She gain no bad. She turn it back. Queen, she gain no bad.
I want to say thank you to Reggae Global Entertainment.
She gain no bad. She gain no bad. Bad.
Reggae Global act as your booking agents, handle your tour management,
Like a trampoline.
take care of your business registration, legal service referrals, music production, marketing and promotion, and so much more.
Bang. I want you to roll it, drop it again.
Go ahead and give them a call, 954-804-8199.
I want you to shit thing like a spike.
That's 954-804-8199.
Yarn in the head stand. Real bad carrot.
Or check them out online at reggaeglobal.com.
Bennett, take hold yourself, don't film my senate. So we go
Tell them you heard about them on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew.
gain no bad. She gain no bad. She ain't got no shame. She gain no bad. She gain no
I want to say thank you to McNeil Trucking.
turn it back. Queen, she gain no bad.
With McNeil Trucking, your goods are in good hands.
She gain no bad. She gain no bad.
They're licensed and insured movers in the state of Florida.
Sardines in the top. Bad like a steel.
You want to move from point A to point B?
Somebody hard as pick me.
Put some things in storage. Don't have the equipment, don't have the manpower, don't have the vehicle.
Yeah, quickly.
No
When
worries.
you're whining on it.
You have a phone number, 954-406-9740.
Gain no bad like dogs in
That's 954-406-9740.
body enough make a dumb man start talking. Everything the bumpers start moving. Met West Indies.
Talk to the McNeils.
What you made of.
Tell them Kevin Stew sent you.
It come to steal. She gain no bad. She gain no bad. She gain no bad. She ain't got no shame. She gain no bad. She gain no bad. She gain no bad. She turn it back. Queen, she gain no bad.
Numbers to call, numbers to text to get you in touch. 773-789 Stew.
No, we'll speak friends. Bro, bumper bubble on band. Must claim it till me descend. What?
That's 773-789-7839.
Breeze, yes, bubble, 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 sweet girl, just bubble, 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 baby, bubble, 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 you want to
call your friends, tell your friends, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too. Share it with everybody, share it to the one somebody. I don't really matter to me.
Whoa, show me.
Share it to everybody.
No, I want you to break it.
As long as you share it, that's the part that's important. Why? Because the info is good for everybody. You can be stingy with it if you want to, but I ask that you don't.
Roll it, drop it again. Turn it to wrong, I stick it, drop it, I lift it. Barely want hit it. I want it to shit thing like a spike stone vine. I band like them rose, those are besides. The ball like Sharian in the head style. Real bad carrier, somebody might.
The son of Ill Blaze, working out with Father Phyllis. The track called She Getting On Bad. If you don't know anybody out there that getting on bad, tell them thanks.
She gain no bad, she ain't got no shame. She gain no bad, she gain no bad, she gain no bad.
And then they ask you why you're telling them thanks. Because you're showing your true colors. Thanks. Hey, 3661. Greetings to you. I don't mind being your favoritist DJ. I'll wear the crown, no worries. I'll take the title. Just go on, buddy. Show me your worst behavior. It's real talk night. Tonight we're looking at human behavior. You know, you ever have one of those moments that you sit and you look at someone doing something and you have to kind of tilt your head to the side. People always telling me, yo, Kevin, straighten your head. No, I can't. I really can't, because I'm always thinking about something and I can't look at you straight on, because something that someone is doing at some point causes me to really question things, and it involves me tilting my head to a particular angle so that I could try to absorb it. You know, I don't know. It might be working for me. Well, it works for me. I don't know how it works for you. Yeah. Thank you, 3661. Thank you much. Now, according to bioscience.com, understanding human behavior can become simple if we could understand how they behave in certain situations. So if people hear some music and they start to wind up themselves a certain way, or if they hear music and they look at people a certain way winding up themselves, you know, it says something, right? Now, understanding human behavior is crucial to understanding the mental state of human beings. That's basically what it is. To make it simple, a human behavior study has identified 4 basic personality types. 4. When you think of all the people that are in the world, what, 7 billion people? You think of all the people in the world, and it's all bundled up into 4 personality types. It makes you really think that, hey, more of us are alike than we are different. Really, when it gets down to even personality types. Now, what we're going to be talking about is the different types of human behavior according to psychologists. And if you want to know different types of human behavior, well, you're in the right place. Because tonight, that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at. I want to say big up to those who are locked in on YouTube Live. Much love to you. Numbers to call, numbers to text to get you in touch. 773-789-STEW. 773-789-7839. The phone lines are always open. Don't be shy. Call. Go ahead, call. We only ask that you be respectful. Just call. Now, according to one definition, behavior can be defined as the actions or reactions of a person in response to external or internal stimulus. Now, to understand the behavior of a person, we have to understand what that person will do if something happens. Approving or disapproving human behavior is known as evaluating behavior. And many of us evaluate others based on their actions and reactions to different stimuli. Behavior is mostly influenced by the nature of the person and the nature of the situation. Now, to learn more about human behavior and to bring positive changes to your behavior, you should get in touch with, well, it is, they say you should, but speak with a professional. It's recommended. That's how you do it. You get in touch with a professional, someone that works with the human mind, someone that can get deeper into the psychology, the psyche of beings, us, human beings. That way, they can help you to understand the psychology behind what you do and who you are. So, based on the way people act or behave in different situations and in response to different stimuli, human behavior can be divided into different types. And we're going to look at those different types. 4 common types, they say. And that is your molecular and moral behavior. And molecular behavior is an unexpected behavior that occurs without thinking. One example is suddenly closing your eyes when something is about to hit you in the face, or it's in the vicinity of your eyes. That's basically reflex. Yeah? Molar behavior is a type of behavior that occurs after thinking. As an example, a person changes the way he or she sees a harmful thing because now they have thought about it, they have learned something about it, and it's a little bit different for them. Bless up G-Mac, much love to you, bro. Now, you have overt and covert behavior. Overt behavior is a visible type of behavior that can occur outside of human beings. Eating food, riding a bicycle, playing football. These are the things that fall under the overt behavior. Now you have covert behavior, where it is not visible. Thinking is an example of covert behavior. Because whereas you can look at someone and think that they're thinking because they look like they're thinking, you can't really see someone thinking, right? Then you have your voluntary and involuntary behavior. And your voluntary behavior is a type of behavior that depends on human want. We can characterize walking, speaking, and writing as voluntary behaviors. Your involuntaries occur naturally, without thinking. Breathing is an involuntary behavior. Now, with that, we can get into the popular types of personalities. So, those are your peers, your behavioral peers, right? And I call them peers because you get 2 naturally. Now, your popular personalities. When I go through these, you'll probably start categorizing people, because that was what I did when I started looking at it. Greetings to you, Nadia. Thank you for reaching out. An important research study in human behavior has classified human personality into 4 types. You're optimistic, you're pessimistic, you're trusting, and you're envious. Let me go over them again. Now, don't start categorizing people yet, because I know that is exactly where you're going in your minds. You have your optimistic, your pessimistic, your trusting, and your envious. Four types of personality types. Four personality types that everybody fall under. Now, according to experts, more than 90% of individuals can really be classified under these categories. And there seems to be some type of balance in the different personality type. Yeah, when you break it down, when you into percentages, there's some type of balance. Now, with your optimistic, you have about 20% of the people living in this world that are believed to be optimistic. 20%. An optimistic person stays hopeful in all situations and keeps trying no matter how hard circumstances get. These people can be pessimistic in some situations, but generally, they're optimistic. Then you have your pessimistics. These seems to be some balance in different personality types, right? We know this. There's 20% of people in the world that are believed to be pessimistic. And a pessimistic person may doubt everything around them. These people can be optimistic in some situations, but for the most part, their go-to reaction to things, first choice, they're pessimistic. Then you have your trusting. About 20% of the people living in this world are believed to be trusting. One of the major traits of trusting people is trusting others. Naturally. Now, these people don't need a major reason to believe in others. They just get up and say, okay, until you do something that leads me to believe otherwise, I'm going to trust you. When you do something now to break that trust, we may have a problem. But until then, I trust you. And there are situations when these people don't trust people. When the trust is broken is one of them. Then you have your envious people. Now remember, if you were paying attention and doing the math, we said about 90% of the whole population of the earth can be covered under or spread out in these four personality types. So far we went through 20% each. So if you did the math, 2, 4, 6, we're talking about 90%. So we have 30% left. And we have one personality trait left. And I'm pretty sure some people are going, yeah, see it there. That's exactly what we were talking about the other day with people being envious. And people bad-minding, that's what comes to mind, right? Well, the number of people having this kind of personality varies a little bit from society to society. But according to research, about 30% of people in the world are estimated to be envious. And envious people are not always like this. They can be supportive. But for the most part, they're envious. Now, it's important to mention that a single person may become optimistic, pessimistic, envious, and trusting, and it is due to the reason that these traits exist in all human beings. The people who are able to easily trust others are known as trusting. And, the rest goes on. The envious people just call them bad mind. But, consider talking to a mental health professional if you have one of these traits and you possibly want to change. Let's say you are pretty trusting and that has become an issue for you because you end up in situations where you're getting into problems because your first go-to is to trust. And people are constantly taking you for granted and taking advantage of your trusting nature. You might want to change that. If it is just that you're envious of everybody, and of such you end up being, I don't know, psychopathic, sociopathic, I don't know, you might definitely want to change that. You grudge everybody for what they have, what they do, how they look. It doesn't work. So you might want to get some help to change that. And, such and such. Hey, Julie, how you doing? Now, in the end, we can say that understanding human behavior can help us handle different people effectively. Those who understand behavioral traits and personality types and can identify them quickly are pretty good at managing people, I believe. A best psychiatrist or psychologist will know this. And you may have more questions about being a psychologist or being a psychiatrist or how they know this or how they can help you in a situation. No worries. Go find one. Chat to one. There are a number of them out there, and all you have to do is just reach out. But consider this. 90% of the people fall into one of these 4 personality types. Pessimistic, optimistic, trusting, or envious. Where do you fall? And remember, 30% of the whole population of the earth fall in the envious category. Now, if everybody is saying they fall into the optimistic category, then some people are lying. Just the bottom line. It's only the truth. Right? So, be mindful of that. Be true to yourself. Ask the questions. Check it out. Look back in your history and see what you come up with. We're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we talk some more. We're going to look at the different personality types in a little bit more detail. Right? Okay, so 3795 says they're optimistic and trusting. Those are your main personality types. Cool. Those of you who would like to share, I'd love to hear from you. 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. We're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we get down into some more of this. Do remember, check out Julie. She's there in the hangout in the chat. She has a truly Julie experience on Flex FM every Saturday at 1 p.m. Check her out. You might find something or hear something you like. And as we're talking about Saturday, coming up this Saturday, as it does each and every Saturday, GMAT Music Solutions presents, you know it, Rhythms of the Heart. This weekend, it's a special event. It's a birthday celebration for, apparently it's a surprise. It says it's a special celebration with a special guest. Who? We don't know. We'll know when we get there. This happens at Eats 876 downtown Fort Lauderdale, 627 South Andrews Avenue. It's just south of the Publix on Andrews Avenue. Admission free. You can't beat that with a long stick. So, doors open at 8 p.m. There's free parking. There's a cash bar. There's food on sale. Come on out. Have a great time. Eat some good food. Bring some friends. Listen, make it a date. All right? But be there. Doesn't really matter where you want to be as long as you're there. And remember, coming up this weekend is Father's Day. So do visit the Mary Kay store. Which Mary Kay store? My Mary Kay store. Some of you may know already. I am an independent Mary Kay consultant. So if you have a man in your life that you want to honor this weekend, listen. It may be a little bit too late now to place an order to get something for Saturday, but you can never be too sure. Go ahead and place your orders anyway. Visit marykay.com/KevinStew. Check it out. Find some things for that man in your life. Some fragrances, beard care, face care, and everybody has skin. So you know you can definitely find some skin care. Check it out. All right? Cool.
Quality Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. a new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulse Media Group.
A lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me.
In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today?
The only thing I didn't learn today?
The only thing I didn't learn
is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Reggae Global Entertainment presents the brand new self-titled album from Yishka with 9 great songs. Oh Baby, Let Me Love You.
Oh, baby.
Be Grateful for Life.
Be grateful for life.
Shake You Down.
Girl, I wanna shake you
What else can I do?
What else can I do?
Babe, Come Over.
Baby, come over.
My. It's our time.
It's our time. You know I love you.
For your love.
For your love, I would do anything.
I'm falling.
I'm falling in love again.
Yishka. 9 great songs. Available on all streaming platforms.
You sure look good tonight.
Available now.
Hey, I'm representing for DJ Kevin Stew, working on the night shift radio show. Won't go changing like the weather, just to please the devil never. Will DJ Kevin Stew sell his soul? That's a word and honor. It's Christine representing word and honor. Selassie DJ Kevin Stew.
Hunger and starvation is the name of the day. Third world children are starving while they throw tons of food away. Politics, bureaucracy, Babylon with the mental slavery. The blood of the innocent run deep in the river of despair.
has passed, but everything remains the same.
The earth is weeping, she's in so much pain.
When will we stop?
When will we stop?
When will we learn?
When will we learn? So many lessons have come and gone.
Way-oh, na-na-na-na-na. 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 Way-oh, na-na-na-na-na.
Triumphantly we shall rise up and win.
Black people,
the whole wide world shall see the light within. Like Bob Marley, they gave prophecy. Oh, children shall fight against slavery. Soldiers of peace, we shall march through the promised land. We sing
way-oh, na-na-na-na-na. Way-oh, na-na-na-na-na. Way-oh, na-na-na-na-na. Way-oh, na-na-na-na-na. Way-oh, na-na-na-na-na. Way-oh, na-na-na-na-na. Way-oh, na-na-na-na.
The sound of Cass Smith bringing us back from the break. A track called Journeys
Way-oh, na-na-na-na-na.
from the album of the same name.
Na-na-na-na. Way-oh, na-na-na-na-na. Way-oh,
Chap Chip.
na-na-na-na.
Blessings to New Jersey's finest. The Motivator. Much love, bro. It's Real Talk, and tonight we're talking about human behavior. This is where we part company with those on Clubhouse. Do remember, come on over to kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment. You remember, you can participate in the broadcast by calling in live or participating in the stew pot, what others call a chat room. Okay? Cool. All right, so looking at human behavior, we have learned that there are 4 basic personality types that 90% of the world's population fall under. Your optimistic, pessimistic, trusting, and envious people. As it relates to optimism, what is that? Who is the optimist? According to Very Well Mind, optimism is a mental attitude characterized by hope and confidence in success and a positive future. Optimists are those who expect good things to happen, where pessimists instead predict unfavorable outcomes. Optimistic attitudes are linked to a number of benefits, including better coping skills, lower stress levels, better physical health, and higher persistence when pursuing goals. Optimists tend to view hardships as learning experiences or temporary setbacks. Even the most miserable day holds the promise for them that tomorrow will be probably better than today was. They see the silver lining when the dark clouds exist. This is the person that will go out and say, hey, listen, up until this point, everything that you've been going through that was negative, that was challenging, you have gotten through it. So as you stand here, you're batting 100. That is your optimist. Now, if you always see the brighter side of things, you may feel that you experience more positive events in your life than others. You find yourself less stressed and even enjoy greater health benefits. Now, did you know? Did you know that there are a number of key characteristics to optimists? Yeah, they all have these in common. So, if you find or you believe that you fall in the positive category, you fall in the optimistic group, cool, then you should have some of these characteristics. You feel good, you feel that good things will happen in the future. You expect things to work out for the best. You feel like you will succeed in the face of life's challenges. You feel that the future looks bright. You think that even good things can come from negative events. You see challenges or obstacles as opportunities to learn. You feel gratitude for the good things in your life. You always look for ways to make the most of opportunities. You have a positive attitude about yourself and about others. You accept responsibilities for mistakes, but you don't dwell on them. You don't let one bad experience muddy your expectations for the future. There are many factors that influence optimism, but whether you tend to be more of an optimist or more of a pessimist can often be explained by how you explain the events of your life. So it's all about how you perceive things. And that's one of the things that makes it so cool about being an optimist. Now, the pessimist, that's a little bit different, because pessimism is defined by the American Psychological Association as the attitude that things will go wrong and that people's wishes or aims are unlikely to be fulfilled. A person with a pessimistic personality tends to be more negative, or they might say a realistic view of life. Yeah, but typically on the negative side. Optimists see things positively. Pessimists, negatively. Those of you who don't know, right? Pessimism is not a trait most people aspire to. It's often associated with negativity, a half-full attitude. Depression and other mood disorders tend to be present with your pessimist. However, a healthy dose of negative thinking isn't necessarily all bad. While we're all often told to smile, think of the bright side and make lemonade out of lemons, that's not always practical, advisable, or healthy. In fact, sometimes a little pessimism might actually be a good thing. Some things to note. You can tell if you tend to be more pessimistic by certain signs. You feel surprised when things actually work out. You don't go after what you want because you think you'll probably fail. You always focus on what can go wrong in a situation. You think that the risk always outweighs the benefits. You experience imposter syndrome and undervalue your own abilities. Are you familiar with imposter syndrome? If you're not, let me know. We can look at it. But it's basically when you feel like, hey, this is what you're doing is not for you. You're not the one for it. You're not the best person. And you put yourself down. That's kind of what it wraps up in a neat little bow to be. A pessimist tends to focus on flaws or weaknesses rather than strengths. You often feel annoyed by other people's sunny optimism. Is that a person that is smiling through the rain? Yeah, that upsets you. You would be the one to go, what's so good that you're smiling about this thunderstorm? Now, if you are one to ask a question like that, please be prepared for the answer. Because that optimistic person is going to come back with, I want to know what the last 10% are. Listen, everybody wants to know what the last 10% are. Who falls in the category of the last 10%? It's a mixture of everybody else, of all the four personality types. But when you ask an optimistic person why they're smiling through a thunderstorm, be prepared to get the answer, because they're going to tell you something along the lines of, well, the sun is going to come out tomorrow. And it may not be calendar tomorrow, but the sun is going to come out nonetheless. And when the sun comes out, then where it is over flooded, where water is not supposed to be, will get dried up. And that will create life, because it probably needed water before. That's the response of the optimist. Be prepared for it, you pessimistic people, because it's coming. 3795 says they're optimistic and trusting. I used to be more pessimistic and envious. Okay, 3795. Talk to me a little bit. What changed? And okay, so we know what changed. You are no longer pessimistic and envious. But what changed it? What influenced that change? How did you navigate going through making that change and moving towards being more optimistic and trusting? What happened? What was the catalyst? Because there are some people that are pretty much out there that are listening right now that are possibly trying to move from that situation where they're pessimistic and envious. They're envious of what happens with those that seem to be succeeding at everything that they do. Not recognizing that even when the light bulb was created, it was created after several failed attempts. Something as simple as mindset. But it's the very same thing that puts you in the position of being pessimistic and envious. It's a mindset. At the core of it all, any of these personality types that we mentioned tonight and that we're looking at comes back to having a mindset. So, is it just getting up one day and saying, I'm going to change my mindset? Is it as simple as that? The pessimist will always assume that all things will come to an end. And so, every day you take the bucket to the well, one day the bottom is going to fall out. It's a little bit of a pessimistic view. Not to say that it isn't true, because nothing lasts forever. The optimist understands, though, that when it comes to the end of the lifetime of that particular thing, it is time for a new thing. 3795 says, unpacked stuff that happened to me with a desire to have a better life. Key factor, a desire. What is it that you desire? And if you're a pessimist and you desire to have a better job, but because of the negative self-talk, and that's the next one on the list actually, you often engage in negative self-talk. Because of that negative self-talk, you end up not wanting to apply for that job. Because you're telling yourself, I can't get that. I'm not good enough to get that. When you studied and got the grade that you wanted to pass that class or get that certificate or that degree or whatever, you put in the work for it. And if that is the requirement for that particular job and you have the requirement, why are you telling yourself that you can't do it? Does that make sense? But nobody says logic has to play a part in any of these personality traits. At no point in time does it say apply logic to have this personality type. Another of the characteristics of the pessimist, you find it easier to live with the status quo than to change things for the better. And this is what 3795 did. 3795 said, I recognize that certain things I wasn't comfortable with or people around me wasn't comfortable with, whichever way it worked out. And changed the mindset to change the outcome, to change the category that they fall under of personality types. It's important to pay attention to who you spend your time with. Yes, 3795. Yes, yes, yes. We've all heard the phrase iron sharpens iron. So, if you're iron, you can't be expecting to go hang out with mud. All that's going to happen is that you're going to get dirty. There's no growth, there's no sharpening of anything that's going to happen at that point. You're just going to get dirty. What do you gain from that? So be iron, hang with iron, build iron with iron. You know what I mean? Not to sound repetitive, but that's basically what it boils down to. So that's your pessimist. Now, the trusting, and I've addressed this one before on a topic all by itself, on a night all by itself. And I remember I did. Trust, or the belief that someone or something can be relied on to do what they said, or that they say, or they will. This is a key element of social relationships and a function for cooperation. Trust. It is critical for romantic relationships, friendships, interactions between strangers, and social groups on a large scale. And a lack of trust in such scenarios can come with serious consequences. Now, indeed, society as a whole would likely fail to function in the absence of trust. So, why does it matter? Well, the sense that one can depend on another person lays the groundwork for social exchanges, yielding benefits like affection, a sense of security, and achievements that would be impossible if embarked on alone. Now, when trust is absent, or someone betrays the trust that has been invested in them, the possibility of a successful future relationship that diminishes. Now, it doesn't say that it disappears. It doesn't say that it disintegrates, it is destroyed. It says it diminishes, which means it doesn't necessarily have to end. There is still hope. The pessimist will not recognize that hope. The optimist will definitely see it. Now, trust comes in as many varieties as there are links between people. In well-functioning relationships, individuals can trust that a parent or a romantic partner will show them love. The business partners will hold up their end of a deal, and that someone in a position of power will wield it responsibly. To an extent, people also trust complete strangers, your doctors, your rideshare drivers, first-time babysitters. They trust them to follow social rules and not to take advantage of them or their loved ones, despite the opportunity to do so. You probably didn't think of it before, but just walking out the door, you're exhibiting trust. Then there is envy. Now, goodtherapy.org speaks of understanding envy, and they define envy as an emotion that occurs when one person wants something another person has. Here we go again, something I've addressed before in detail. Whether that thing is material possession or perceived success or stature. Notable for its status as one of the 7 deadly sins, envy has been studied extensively in the fields of philosophy and psychology, among other fields, of course. A complex emotional experience. Envy can consist of many elements: longing, feeling of inferiority, ill will toward the envied person, resentment, and guilt. When a person becomes envious, it is often due to some degree of dissatisfaction with the self. Again, having nothing to do with the person outside. It's all internal. It's a mindset. In other words, envy occurs when a person believes that having what another person has would increase their own happiness. Envy might also involve some degree of wishing that the other person did not have the envied object or quality. Does that sound familiar? It sounds like jealousy, doesn't it? Well, envy and jealousy are distinct concepts. And this is within the field of psychology. Although the terms are often used interchangeably, like envy, jealousy is a complex emotion with multiple facets. But jealousy typically exists within the context of relationships. More specifically, jealousy occurs when one individual fears losing an important relationship to someone else. It is the fear of losing what they already have and want to keep. Envy, on the other hand, typically occurs when the achievement, status, or possessions of another is desired. The emotion focuses on what a person does not have. Side note, jealousy. You recognize that envy is about what you don't have. Here you are being jealous, and you are the one that has what is envied. How about that for a moment to change your mindset? Why are you jealous? So you are the one in the relationship. Let's use relationships as an example. Let's use a marriage, for example. You're the one in the marriage with the person, and your partner is found a new friend, and they're hanging out. Understand this. At the beginning of any type of relationship, you have that new relationship energy. So you find a new golfing partner, a new fishing partner, a new football partner, a new volleyball partner, a new whatever. Someone to do that thing that you love to do with, because your partner doesn't really like to do it, but now you found someone that you can do it with, and you are doing it and enjoying it, and your partner decides that they're going to be jealous. It is a mindset that your partner has that they have to work on. Not to say that you don't help them to work on it. You don't give them the support that they may need to be more confident within themselves. But definitely, it is something that they need to work on, and you cannot work on it for them. You cannot make that jealousy disappear for them. They have to work on it because it is their mindset. But you can assist. And so that is a look at jealousy. Although jealousy is not what we're looking at as one of the 4 characteristics, envy is. But jealousy, because of its relationship to envy, has to be touched on just a little bit. And so, again, we have those 4 personality traits, those 4 personality types. We have the optimist, the pessimist, the trusting, and the envious. 4 main personality types that 90% of the world fall in one of those categories. So the 10%, where would that be? I would say a balanced combination of them all. So that is the person that recognizes that, hey, I understand that whatever it is that I go after, I can get it. However, there are some times when I have to recognize that this is not going to work out. But I trust those that are with me to help me through it. And I envy those that have done it already and don't have to worry about doing it now. All those 4 traits recognized in that one person. Is it so strange? It's an inside job. Yeah, it's an inside job. we get into some of these emotions. We get into some of these positions that we put ourselves in. And we go, woe is me. Hey, we put ourselves there. How do we get out? We take ourselves out. How about that for a concept? Mind-blowing, right? We're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we talk a little bit more, looking at human behavior. We're going to look at some facts. And I thought this was so cool. So there's a list of facts about basically how we are as people. And they're psychology facts. So once you start getting into psychology, you know, you're getting into the psyche of man, the mind, the brain, how we think, how we operate with our thought processes, all these things. When we come back from the break, we're going to go through this list. And I got so excited as I went through this list before. I thought, hey, listen, I need to share this with somebody. So I'm going to share it with everybody. All of you. When we come back from the break, that's exactly what we're going to do. Call your friends, tell your friends, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too. Real talk happening right here, the Night Shift to DJ Kevin Stew. It is all about human behavior. We'll be right back after these messages. Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
Making great music is one thing, sharing it with the world, that's another. Let the professionals at Reggae Global Entertainment help you to another level. Specializing in artist management, booking, public relations and marketing, and promotion, Reggae Global Entertainment can help you with event planning, websites, photography, and video production, press releases, legal services, and graphic design. They can even help you with music production, so you can get the sound that you want every time. Call Reggae Global Entertainment at 954-804-8199. That's 804-8199. Or visit them online at reggaeglobalentertainment.com.
When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulseemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.
Hey yo, this is Carman to let you know that right about now you are logged on to DJ Kevin Stew on the night shift. Don't move.
Make me feel so good. Make me feel so good.
Come take my hand, let's dance. Tonight's your chance. Make me feel so good. Tonight's your chance. Make me feel so good. Tonight's your chance. Make me feel so good. Fill my glass with something new. Chance. Make me feel so good. Come take my hand. Let's dance. Tonight's your chance. chance. Make me feel so good. Let's dance. Make me feel so good. Let's dance. Make me feel so good.
The sound of Rachel Davy Lee. A track called Makes Me Feel So Good. How good are you feeling? 773-789-STEW gets you in touch. 773-789-7839. Call, text, WhatsApp, Telegram. They all work. Get in touch. If you're overseas and don't want to use any of those platforms, you just want to hit me up on Skype, you can do that too. The Skype handle, kevin.stew. Real easy. Or use djkevinstew@gmail.com as a way to find me on Skype, or just send me an email. Any of those work. Go to kevinstew.com. All my social media contact information is there. You can pick, choose, and refuse. Choose to get in touch with me with any one of them. Okay? Cool. But do use a phone line tonight. Yeah? So, as we go into this last segment of the broadcast before we get into musical therapy, I thought it cool to look at some of these really interesting psychology facts. And we, like it or not, interested or not, the psyche of human beings is really intriguing. It is. And we can't ignore it, because more often than not we ask the question, gee, why did they do that? Why do they do that? How do you find it in yourself to do this or to do that? Or how could someone do? It's all psychological questions. So I thought I would share these really cool psychological facts. You ready? Did I just get a message relating to this broadcast? Let me see. Text line just lit up. Okay. Some people that normally listen to some of the things that I say, I talk about, reminding me that it's 11:11, pointing it out to me, because I often see that time of day, morning and night, 11:11, and I recognize that it was 11:11. Thank you very much. Okay, so the term psychology has been derived from the Greek word psyche, translating as breath, spirit, or soul, and logia, that corresponds to study of. So that's how psychology came about. The word, that is. Now, it takes about 66 days for an average individual to make something a daily habit. 66 days. Studies say that individuals who could instinctively use sarcasm to tackle a frivolous question have healthy minds. So sarcasm isn't necessarily a bad thing. Individuals who have a deep sense of guilt are better at identifying the emotions and concerns of the people around them. Does that mean that they're more empathetic? The individuals who have a deep sense of guilt? Really interesting, right? We can understand any messed up sentence as long as the last and first letters of the words are in correct places. Now, I wish I had thought about showing you this sentence as I read it, because apart from we and can, none of the other words, well, any, and up, and as, and the, and off, and are, and in. Okay, so the majority or half of this sentence, the letters in the words are jumbled. But I could have read it to you. And many of us have seen memes that have shown up that are like that. another point on this list. We are naturally second-minded because other people don't approve. I never thought of that. Yawning to have someone else's yawn is a normal phenomenon, despite not feeling exhausted or asleep. One of the myths regarding this infectiousness is that people catch it to express empathy. So we are all empathic, whether we like to believe it or not. What's this comment here? Okay. An average individual's mind wanders 30% of the time, as mine just did to the comment section. Eye pupil rises to 45% when an individual looks at somebody they love. Not like, I almost said like, someone they love. So your pupils open up 45%. That's pretty cool. I guess that's because of the rush, that flow of blood, that excitement when you see the person you love. That's why the eyes tell all. You ever thought about it? Yeah, the eyes tell all. We often tend to break down knowledge into classes of 3 to 4 objects in them. The Indian phone number is 984-973-2543. 3 blocks with 3 to 4 bits in each chunk. Well, that's just about any phone number that you can think of. But we do tend to break things down into objects of 3 or 4. When you're reading out a list of numbers, look at your debit card or your credit card. It's in groups of 4. Kind of like my cat when I get her food for her big eyes. It's not you that she is in love with at that point. 37.95. Just to let you know, it's the food. I'm not trying to read on your parade or anything like that, you know. I'm just saying, it's the food that's doing it. It's like Pavlov's dog. You knock the pot and they come running with salivating mouths. So it's not really you. It's what they can get. During the 7 minutes of neural activity you will have before dying, you will see memories in a dreamlike pattern. Now, I would love to know how exactly they got that bit of information. Did someone within the last 7 minutes of dying say, "Hey, I can see my memories"? Or did they string up an apparatus to someone that is dying and record these activities during the last 7 minutes and match it to someone who is remembering something? I wonder how they got that information. Having siblings is proven to help with getting along with peers. Well, yeah, I can see how that could happen. Your first friends would actually have been your siblings, wouldn't they? The way an individual treats the employees at an establishment tells immediately about their character. They've done these type of studies for near-death experiences. But the last 7 minutes though, 37.95. I want to see some of this. Could you pull up any of these experiments, any of these studies, and put the link here in the stew pot for me, please? 37.95, if you could. That would be. I'd greatly appreciate that. If you sob out of happiness, the first tear will come from your right eye. But if you cry out of sorrow, it will come from the left. Isn't that dependent on how you tilt your head? That's so interesting. Who sits down and thinks of these things? Who documents these? Who decides that, you know what? Today I'm going to get up and study tears. And I'm going to study the effect of crying out of happiness and crying out of sorrow. I'm going to study crying. Who got up and did that? And why? That would be the other question. Why would you do that? Who wanted to know? But don't get me wrong, I do find it fascinating. Food prepared by someone else tastes much better than your own preparation, even if you use the same recipe. Listen, I know some people that cook and love to cook, and there's no way you can tell them that. Nope. Their food is the best cooking ever. You cannot tell them that their somebody else's food tastes better. And they're not going to tell you that someone else's food tastes better. Hearing a single negative thing could damage at least 5 positive memories. Now, that is reason to recognize and be grateful for the positive things in your life and list them. So if you come across one negative thing, you have all these other positive things to bounce back to. Because it takes 5 of them to balance out the one negative thing. Crazy, right? It's kind of like having a bad experience. You're going to end up telling about 12 people. Whereas you have a good experience and you end up telling one. What is it about us and negativity? Why we dwell on it so much? Have I ever looked into that? Maybe I need to. Again, if I did before. I can't remember some of the things that I've looked into. I've looked into so much. Studies have shown that consuming food without preservatives will increase IQ by up to 14%. That explains a lot. How much of our pantry is filled with food that has preservatives? What does that say about us as a people? Not calling any names, not pointing any fingers. I'm just saying, studies have shown that consuming food without preservatives will increase your IQ by up to 14%. I'm going to leave it there. On to the next one. You seem to think more about a specific individual than about catastrophic events. That's pretty cool. Unless thinking about the individual was catastrophic in itself. Oh, that's concerning. An individual still has 7 minutes of neural activity before they pass away, which is where they see the memories in a dreamlike state. Researchers have observed that thinking that something bad is going to happen is less stressful to understand than not understanding how it will eventually wind up. So that is why most of us go towards a negative outcome for an event versus a positive. Or even just thinking that will end a particular way. That is interesting. Why do we do that? Men are not more entertaining than women. They only make more jokes. They don't care whether others like their humor or not. Is that true? Do we make more jokes than women? Those of you that are in the stew pot right now, do men make more jokes than women? Shy people tell others very little about themselves, but they do it in quite a manner that makes other individuals believe they know them better than they actually think they do. That's interesting. Shy people tell others very little about themselves, but they do it in quite a manner that makes other individuals believe they know them better than they actually think they do. Shy people, how do you do that? Our brain size has decreased by 10% since we were hunter-gatherers. So, let me think about this for a moment. Is it that our head size shrunk, so our brain size also shrunk? Or did our head size remain the same and our brains shrunk because we're thinking about how we're going to navigate catching our next meal and escaping the creature that is looking at us as their next meal? Which one is it? Or is it a combination of both? Because getting information like this in a vacuum, well, someone like me, I have more questions. Comment here in the stew pot. We make it more about you than about ourselves, which makes you feel you know us. Oh, that's what shy people do? 37.95? Are you saying that you're shy? Since you say we, is that what you're saying? 37.95? Call me 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. Call me, talk to me about this. Tell me. People in blue rooms are much more productive. Really? Blue? Why? That's interesting. The study showed that information could last longer in the mind of a person evaluated for it than if it were only examined without the need for an instant recall. Well, yeah. But they didn't say it will, they said it could last longer. Operative word, could. You are in an endless pursuit of human faces in inanimate objects. Okay, I have a call here. And the call starts with a chuckle. I wonder if this is one of the things that are on the list. That laughing is contagious. Someone calls you and or you meet up with someone and they start laughing, you're going to start laughing too.
Like yawning.
Yeah, that must be it. Greetings and salutations to you.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Fantastic.
Okay, you sound fantastic. Talk to me. Tell me. What's it that you're sharing with me tonight?
You know you're on my favorite subject matter.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard her before on this platform. She has been a guest here. She has her own platform also. The one and only Dr. Kara B. Kellery, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
Good. No, this is official. How you doing? Because I have put the DR before your name because I am the DJ, and when I talk, I just talk. You, on the other hand, talk with some weight. So, talk to me. Tell me, which one of these things are you addressing right now, first of all?
Oh, all of them.
Okay, go.
I'll let you pick, and then we'll talk about them.
All right. Do you know about this blue room being more productive, making people more productive? Do you know anything about that?
I do not.
I've never heard that. And if that were the case, then why aren't office buildings, well, the inside of offices painted blue? Or have a blue accent wall?
Was it a blue room or is it like blue light? You know how they say don't use your phones at night because of the blue light keeps you awake?
No. Because the within the light spectrum, the blue waves in the color spectrum are the most dangerous to the eyes. So that cannot be it. It has to be something else. I just want to know why they said blue rooms, not blue lights, blue rooms. Crazy. All right. Let's go to this one. Shy people tell others very little about themselves. The shy thing. Let's go to that.
Shy could almost go hand in hand with introvert as well.
Okay.
And so there is something about that personality that makes other people usually talk a lot more. So then it feels like there's a lot of engagement. But most of all, people like to talk about themselves.
Okay. I get that.
And so, yeah, so, that's how we could feel more connected with somebody else. Because, like, wow, they're a really great listener, But they're not even realizing they're listening because maybe the shy person is just giving physical or I'm going to say more physical than verbal feedback that would make them seem really engaging.
Got you. So those are the people that are nodding their heads a whole lot more and tossing in the occasional, oh, really? That's cool.
Right. Well, I'm thinking a lot of the shies and the introverts just came alive when we went into COVID under shutdowns because they got to be in their element of recharging and all of that.
That sounds like an oxymoron. How does a shy or an introverted person come alive?
Right? Because for an extrovert, that seems like the most dangerous thing in the world because they have to feed off of other people's energy. So the extroverts lost their mind during COVID.
Okay.
Because they couldn't be around other people. They couldn't socialize. And so therefore, they weren't able to fill their own cup, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to learn to do that. Whereas an introvert and shyer person, they get drained by all of that outside stimulus, energy, and so much conversation and that they need to have more alone time.
Okay. Let me hit you up with another one. People, all right, you are in an endless pursuit of human faces in inanimate objects. Do you find that you do that? You look for a face, but it has happened in the clouds. It has happened in milk. It has happened on toast. People.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a Glee episode where he thought Jesus was on his grilled cheese sandwich.
Exactly. And these things make the news. We look at.
Isn't that fascinating how the brain works? I mean, you and I could go look at a cloud and I would see a bunny rabbit and you're like, it's a cloud.
Right. And then here comes the news agency reporting on it.
Right. Let's make this a monumental landmark now.
Let me hit you up with another one. Smart people tend to have fewer mates than the average person. The smarter the individual, the more selective they become.
And I think that would have to do more along with from an emotional standpoint. I mean, are we talking IQ or are we talking some other form of intelligence? I mean, I guess that would be the question. Because you can be one of the most intelligent people in the world, but if you haven't done your mindset to work on things that have happened, we've all had stuff happen to us in our lives.
Yes.
That we could then, we know some really smart people who may have addiction problems. Because there's an emotional component that hasn't been taken care
of. Okay. Now, because you raised the issue of defining smart, I'm not even going to get too deep into that one. Because thinking about some people I know that I consider to be pretty smart, some of them have had multiple partners, some of them at the same time, without the others knowing. And I think that requires some kind of skill. So, would that person be considered smart? Deceptive? What's the difference between being smart and being deceptive? It seems like a fine line to me.
Or you look at those, there's some people like savants, people who, Mensa members or whatever. Some of them can be super intellectually smart, but may lack the ability to understand common things.
Yeah. Or lack social skills.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, here's this one is interesting. How many languages do you speak?
1.
Okay, I speak 2. I have Patois and I have English. But people who speak 2 languages can unintentionally change their personalities when they switch to speak from one language to another.
Oh, that's really interesting. Can change the person that they're speaking to's personality?
No, change their own personality.
Oh, I totally would get that.
Yes.
Because if you think of traditionally, if you're like, for me, English is my first language.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was to speak another language, I also, that would change who I was personality wise, because under my, born native language, I have certain beliefs, certain behavioral things that came along with that development.
So your beliefs would probably change based on the language that you know? Because you're learning the culture of that language also?
Well, if you're learning the culture of that language, some people could merely be learning the language just to survive where they're at, not necessarily embracing the culture.
How do you learn a language without learning the culture of the language? Because some of the language is based on things that happen in that culture.
Right. Right, but that may not be your history as the one that's learning the language. That doesn't mean that you can't have a love for it and embrace the culture and all of that, but it wouldn't be the same as the one that you're natively born into.
Yeah, I get that. All right. I did see something, and it's probably coming up in this list somewhere, that if you do speak multiple languages and you tell yourself, or you come to a conclusion or an opinion in your mind in a different language, then you believe it more. I found that to be interesting. I hope I come across it before we get off of this and go into musical therapy. Although it is musical therapy time, I'm loving these bits of information. Check this out. People would rather change the truth than change their views about people.
Yes, because then therefore I might be lying to myself, or I might be wrong. And so if I have to perpetuate the lie in order to not make me inside feel bad.
But it's the truth though. So how do you get past it? You're changing what is true to now become a lie, so that you don't change how you feel about or how you perceive an individual.
Right, so whose truth, right? You and I could have our own thoughts and beliefs on another person, and each one of our thoughts and beliefs would be true to us, whether it was even true to anybody else.
But if that person did something, if that person went and slashed someone else's tires, and we both saw that that person slashed someone else's tires just because they were angry, like something happened, they got mad at them, or in a jealous fit or an envious rage, either one, they went and did something like that. Now, because that person is generally charismatic and we like them, we're going to say that no, they didn't slash the tires, so that we wouldn't view them in a very envious or jealous light.
Or if it was one of our children.
Even better example. So because we don't want to lose the image of our child being an angel, we tell ourselves a lie.
Or we feel like we're protecting them from what consequences could happen for them.
It doesn't change
as
the
a
fact,
result of
though.
doing that. It doesn't change the fact. But that's the narrative that one will stick to.
Or I shouldn't say it doesn't change the fact, it doesn't change the truth. Because
that's right.
Facts don't necessarily.
It doesn't change that Johnny went and slashed the tires.
Yeah. Truths are often facts, but facts are not often truths. We're most imaginative at night and least creative in the day.
That's really interesting because I'm from a biased standpoint, I'm more creative during the day than I am at nighttime.
Do you consider yourself a morning person or a night person?
Yeah, a morning. But I do know there's that between twilight that happens in the morning as you're starting to wake up and also when you're starting to go to sleep when we can be very creative.
I'm most creative in my waking moments. That's when I have my best ideas.
In the morning or night?
Whenever I'm waking up. When you're me, that happens whenever you go to sleep. You know what I mean?
Could be today, tomorrow.
Yeah, it could be daytime, it could be nighttime. Whenever I'm waking up, I'm most creative at that point.
That's when I'm fresh.
Being alone is harder for your health than you really believe.
Because one of our very, very basic human needs, we have 6 basic human needs, but the very basic one is we need love and connection.
As social creatures.
Yeah.
Being home alone and isolated for a long time is just as bad for your well-being as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Kind of along the same concept, which is why our mental health has gotten really unhealthy. I mean, increased since COVID. Because you think of all of the isolation, you think of the disconnection, people being even disconnected from their parents, maybe because out of fear they want to keep them safe, and elderly parents, grandparents not having their kids or their grandkids, they were coming by and looking at them in the window and stuff. But that did a lot for people's psyche, and it wasn't a positive thing.
And apparently has not changed much considering that we have been bombarded with individuals going out there doing crazy things and us asking the question, why would they do that?
Right.
All these mass shootings. What
Yes.
triggered them? Why would they do that? Seems to be the question on everybody's lips these days.
We know why. It's mental health. But what are we doing as a nation, as a society, as a culture to shift that? We're focusing on other things, but we're not focusing on the root, which is we need to focus on mental health. We need to focus on family values and, community, those kinds of things.
I was addressing this, and I have been addressing this in parts and parcels for the past 2 weeks. And this is along the lines of one of the things that I had said. We, looking at something like gun reform, is addressing a symptom of the problem. You're not addressing the problem. Because it doesn't really matter how many guns an individual may have. If they're not going to fire one of them, then how are they a threat? It's the individual that decides that they're going to fire all of them at people that have done them nothing. No, this person becomes a threat.
Right.
So now you have to ask the question, why would someone who has as many weapons as another, one would not use it and one would? And because we're not asking the questions of why and looking at what they have been taught or what they're going through, for the most part, people don't know how to navigate what they're going through, express themselves, and work through their issues. All they know how to do, the first thing they know how to do is to break something. They're going to lash out.
Well, and sometimes those same individuals could be asking for help, maybe not directly. Hey, I need some help. I'm not feeling good, because for whatever reason, probably conditioning or the way we've been raised. But oftentimes there is asking for help, and maybe it's the asking of people who aren't capable of helping. And it's usually we go to those ones we trust the most or something. And I think that's kind of part of the problem too. I mean, I'm thinking of the young man in Uvalde, Texas. I mean, they're now revealing that there was so much,
Yes.
red flags or whatever that were indications that this was not a stable person based on their environment that they grew up in.
Here we go again, though. Time and time again, it comes back to, oh, we recognize that there were all these flags, there were all these
Yep.
signs in hindsight. You said something, and this is exactly what I said. It comes back to what I said earlier. We don't have the tools. And when I say we, I'm talking about people as a collective. I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody. I mean, I'm going to include myself because I don't want anybody to say, oh, Kevin Stew feels like he's better than anybody and doesn't. No, no, no. I'm going to include myself in this and say we, because I didn't have it when I was growing up either. Although I grew up in a stable home with a lot of love and the opportunity to, I still wasn't taught how to express that emotion that I was feeling at that time, that joy. How are you feeling? How that you're feeling happy? What is making you happy at this moment? Tell me about it. And in reverse, you're feeling sad. What is making you sad? Why are you sad? Why are you angry? How can we work through this? I didn't have those
Right.
tools, and many of us do not have those tools. We don't talk to our children that way.
Right. I mean, I think in some ways we are making progress compared to, let's say, the boomers. My dad is a boomer. My dad's an exceptional person as far as communication,
Yes.
but my mom was not. She didn't talk about feelings. If she did, she got really mad, and that was her way of, because she was insecure, didn't feel confident enough to have an uncomfortable conversation. Then it's just like, I'm going to push you away through harsh words or that. And that's no shame. That was just her coping skill. But I think we have made some progress, as a whole of, hey, you know what? We need to talk about our feelings. But we don't. These are kind of classes that we should have too, in addition to maybe teaching meditation or yoga, the way that we can learn how to control our body, control our thoughts and minds, not manipulatively, but in a way to help ground ourselves so we can get in touch with what is it I'm feeling and why,
Yes.
and what can I do about this that's not going to do harm to me or others.
Yeah, but
Just like we're not taught how to have relationships, we find ourselves attracted to somebody, we want to start dating them or that, but we're basing it purely off of whatever we saw in our own life growing up, not necessarily healthy ways of having a relationship.
Exactly. Whew. I love when we chit chat. I really
me
do.
too.
All right. Let me see. What can I close this off with? Here we go. One with power. Studies have also found that people who are in a position of power and influence are very poor in determining other people's emotions.
Wow, that's really interesting. I mean, is that the definite difference between a leader and a boss per se? Whereas a
Well,
leader would be more in touch with that because they're leading by example, using all of the collective body of people to move things forward. Whereas maybe a boss is like, I'm telling you what to do and you need to do that.
however, they're both in positions of influence and power.
Right, but I think there's a difference between those two.
Influence and power?
I think between like a boss, and I don't know what other word, maybe the person of power, and leadership.
Things that we can revisit in the future. As you know, I will. If I haven't already, I definitely will. One of the things I learned about leadership involved a statement: "There go my people. I must follow them because I am their leader."
Yeah, that is fantastic.
The first time I came across that, it stuck with me until today.
I think about that even as my dad, even though my dad was the leader of our family. What I think makes him such a good leader is that he's open-minded. He's open to receiving feedback. He's open to other ideas and possibilities to then make a decision collectively.
Let me ask this.
And I love that.
You mentioned your parents just now. That's pretty cool about your dad, by the way. If you were to categorize your parents in one of the 4 personality types: pessimistic, optimistic, pessimistic, trusting, envious, where would you put your parents, your father and your mom?
Oh man. Yeah, they say opposites attract, right? And I would say that would be true
before you
behaviorally.
answer, I'll tell you where I place them. I place
Yeah.
your father as the optimistic truster, and your mother as not necessarily envious, but more on the pessimistic side.
Yep, and I would say that that would be accurate. And I would also say that that would be based on their beliefs and values that they perhaps grew up with. You know, if we're not working through, again, there isn't one person on this planet that's been breathing longer than, I don't know, a few years, who hasn't had an experience, either not personally or that they've witnessed, that they now have categorized under a certain category as either good, bad, or fun or not. You know what I mean? Positive or negative.
Yes.
Whether it's true or not to anyone else in the room, it doesn't matter. It's the individual that gets to decide how they label that. And if we're not going and looking at those labels, at those things that we have defined as a belief, then we don't have the ability to shift from. I mean, most optimistic people are not going to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go look at all my values and beliefs and uproot those so I can become pessimistic, you know, because it's not serving them. But definitely for somebody who's pessimistic, or, you know, not secure or confident in themselves, it would do them a beneficial, great thing to go look at those things, decide if they're still important and valuable to you, and if they are, why. Are they part of your identity, or is it possible that you could change that? And what would your world look like then?
Yeah. Very fascinating, as it always is. The study of the mind. You know, I get caught up and taken away each time I think about it. Dr. Karabi, thank you very much for your calling and sharing and contributing to this broadcast. Go ahead and put your information out there so that people can find you if they want to hear more from you or they want to reach out to you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Well, first of all, thank you so much for what you do, not just on this night show. You do it every night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, but you really do a lot of work. And I mean, I hope people appreciate what you put behind the scenes to do within your programmed time. There's a lot more you're doing behind the scenes. And I appreciate that and value that in you, because you do a really remarkable job.
Thank you.
As far as to get in touch with me, you can catch me on Facebook, social media platforms, Kelly Ray, Dr. Kelly Ray, or Instagram, Ask Dr. Kelly Ray. And I have a weekly podcast I do. I don't do as many as you. Good Lord, I don't know where you find the time to do all of that. But I'm on Mondays at Getting Through the Week with Dr. Kelly Ray, and I'm on 4 or 5 different platforms where you listen to podcasts.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Caribbean. Truly appreciate love you and what you do also. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. Because this is where we close out the night shift week.
Father's Day to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, enjoy celebrating that. And then after that, let's just go take on the world and just, heal everybody. That would be fantastic.
We're on a mission. We're on a mission.
Right, exactly. Have a great night, and thank you so much.
You're very welcome, and thank you too. Good night, Dr. Caribbean.
Much love.
Take care.
Bye.
As we jump into musical therapy, an abbreviated version of it.
No will, no way.
Just that right there.
Real hot topic from the...
This is the sound of Denver Down on this McNeil Trucking sponsored musical therapy segment. The track is called No Will, No Way.
You gotta be firm because when there is no will, there is no way. Keep the fire burning cause when there is no will, there is no way. Don't stop, keep moving on. When there is no will, there is no way. It's never over till you're done. When there is no will, I don't even feel it's right to get up every day with defeat in mind. Good lamps burn hot, give the realest light. Ambition I go come with the realest fight. Oh gosh, and them already try. Enough of them I go lie. And that's why me keep job by my side. This journey been a heck of a ride. I rock 1,000 miles. Hey, the destination smelling like roses. Me snapshot a better life, no poses. Never fear the enemies, me ready for the foes. Never be defeated, no. Hey, one chance of it to making the most. Pedal to the metal, put the wheels to the road. Life come with a couple bruises, couple blows, but I'll never be defeated, no. You gotta be firm because when there is no will, there is no way. Keep the fire burning cause when there is no will, there is no way. But don't stop, keep moving on. When there is no will, there is no way. It's never over till you're done. When there is no will, there is no way. Cause when the times get too rough, you feel like you can't make it. Just call upon God, you not even need credit. Unemployment high, enough people can't take it. Things been crazy, read the pandemic. I remember the economy freeze, and people would have killed if you cough or sneeze. Health workers risk life and put the nation at ease. Most people would have planned to postpone them dreams. Yet in the midst of the panic, never sing Titanic. Develop the right habits, help them who don't have it. Even if it's just a bit, get at it. Good things can come from bad now if you really look at it. Oh, look around, on the road to better days you cannot travel alone. Determination gets on me from the comb. Before we dance abroad, we got to do it at home. I mean, you gotta be firm because when there is no will, there is no way. Keep the fire burning cause when there is no will, there is no way. Don't stop, keep moving on. When there is no will, there is no way. It's never over till you're done. When there is no will, there is no way. When there is no will, there is no way. When there is no will, there is no way. When there is no will, there is no way.
Good morning or evening, friends. Here's your friendly announcer.
He just celebrated an Earth Day just yesterday.
Pass on to
The sound of Ed Robinson as we close out this night shift week. I want to thank you each and every one for your support.
to say.
This track is entitled Love's in Need of Love Today. I want to thank my affiliates, NIE Radio, Reggae Pulse Radio, the Foundation Radio Network, TintaLindsay.com, PEMGTV.com, Zeno FM. Thank you all. Much love to you. Do remember to look out for someone today, someone in your community. Just remember, your community is not the development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide. Those you pass on the bus, on the train, the boat, or the plane, whether you walk, ride, or drive, these are members of your community. Do something good for one of them today, because you never know it's going to do something good for you tomorrow. My name is DJ Kevin Stew, so I like to do it to you, for you, every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here, kevinstew.com, on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew.
Before it's gone too far.
Thank you to my sponsors, Policy Media Group, Althea and Her Healing Heavenly Hands, Althea SU, Reggae Global Entertainment, and McNeil Trucking. I truly appreciate love, yeah. I wish you all a good night, good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world. From right here in South Florida, I bid you all a good night. Be good. If you can't be good at it. Take care of yourselves until we meet again. Much love to you. Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.